I warmly welcome you all to this very important meeting today. This meeting is held in accordance with paragraph 15 of Resolution 73/326 of July 19, 2019. The hearing provides an opportunity for all relevant stakeholders to engage actively in the implementation, follow-up and review of the Global Compact for safe, orderly and regular migration, building on the regional reviews. I will now make a statement as the President of the General Assembly. Ms. Annalena de Vandas Aguirre, dear colleagues at the United Nations Network on Migration, dear stakeholders present, ladies and gentlemen. Let us begin with a simple truth. Migration is part of the human story. Long before it became the subject of policies, compacts, forums, and negotiated texts, people moved all around the world. They moved to survive, to find safety, to build better futures for their children. They moved for work, some for love, for opportunity, for dignity, and for hope. To study, to earn a living, to start a business, to reunite with family, or simply to build a better life. And that movement continues today. In 2024 alone, the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs recorded more than 304 million international migrants worldwide. Many of us in this room have been migrants ourselves or are part of families and communities shaped by migration. Migration governance cannot be discussed, therefore, only in technical terms. It must remain grounded in people and the experience of those working closest to the realities migrants face every day, in many UN settings, but also well beyond. Across the world, frontline actors, like many of you here in the room, provide protection, support search and rescue operations, deliver humanitarian assistance, collect data, assess risk, and identify both what is working in practice and where serious gaps remain. As policy is only as strong as its connection to this reality. And the reality is clear. Migration touches every state, whether as a country of origin, transit, destination, or increasingly all three at once. No single state or institution can manage migration alone, because migration affects labor markets, education systems, social protection, public health, urban planning, climate resilience, and development itself. It requires cooperation across borders, sectors, and communities, a whole-of-society approach. It requires platforms like this Global Compact, which we are reviewing this week to serve all member states and all communities. If we treat it as a narrow issue, on the other hand, we will only produce narrow answers, and those answers will fail both people on the move and the communities that receive them. This is also why stakeholders, you, have been central from the beginning. Stakeholders like you helped shape the discussions that led to the adoption of the Global Compact for safe, orderly and regular migration in 2018 and have supported this implementation ever since. Stakeholders like you contributed to the first International Migration Review Forum in 2022 by helping assess progress, identifying gaps, and highlight continuing challenges. Through the regional reviews held ahead of this forum, you have built momentum, shared experience, and strengthened cooperation across regions. Yet, 4 years after the first review cycle, the Global Compact has become more difficult. Climate impacts are intensifying. Humanitarian needs are growing. Institutional capacity is under strain, even as migration continues to shape economies, societies, and communities in profound ways. And we must be frank. Migration is becoming increasingly politicized. That makes today's discussion even more important. not only for this hearing or for this week, but for the broader effort to ensure that migration governance remains effective, human, and grounded in reality. And the reality is, well-governed migration can support development, help address labor shortages, strengthen communities, and create opportunities for families to invest in education, health, and livelihoods. If we are joining hands, this can be a win-win-win situation. In countries with aging populations and declining birth rates, entire systems of healthcare, elderly care, and other essential services would simply not function without migrant workers. Across many economies, migrants are central to construction, agriculture, transport, hospitality, care work, and other service sectors. They also contribute through high-skilled professions, entrepreneurship, research, technology, and innovation. Yet again, these benefits cannot be taken for granted. When migration is poorly governed, when it's politicized with bad intent, people become more vulnerable to trafficking, exploitation, and abuse. And the reality in too many parts of the world still is that migrant workers are excluded from social protection systems and lack access to healthcare, legal protection, and decent working conditions. In some cases, children of migrants are even still unable to attend school, deprived of stability and opportunity. This is why this work, this global compact, is so important. This is why your daily work as stakeholders is so important. And this is why also the work of the International Labour Organization and partners across the UN system is so important. Well-governed migration means decent work, fair recruitment, protection from exploitation, and access to basic services. When these foundations are in place, migrants can contribute more fully to families, communities, and economies. Additionally, with only 4 years remaining to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, we cannot afford to overlook that potential. But realizing it will require more than broad commitments. It will require honest assessment, practical recommendation, and a willingness to listen carefully to migrant communities, local authorities, civil society, diaspora organizations, workers' organizations, the private sector, and all those experiencing can strengthen the implementation. I thank you. I thank the special envoy. I thank the Migrant Voice speaker, therefore, for the opportunity today for the consultations in action. Because a summary of this hearing will be presented at the opening of the plenary of the International Migration Review Forum. You are representing the lives of people on the ground, the true realities. So let your work be guided by a simple recognition. Human mobility has shaped every era of shared history and will continue to shape the future before us. And it is in our hands if this will be a win-win-win for migrants, for receiving communities, and states of origin. I thank you.